is the place to find yourself.
Istanbul offers great universities and the lifestyle is really amazing here.
So I live at the dorms at Maltepe University and I'm really happy with it. There's a cleaning service every few days and then there's the library nearby which is open 24/7.
My first impression when I came was like, it's huge. You have everything in one place.
When you first come to Maltepe University, you don't know where what is and you're like, oh my God, I need help. Guess what? You're not alone. There is the international office people over there. They're like family. They're very helpful and they're always there for you.
Istanbul is the perfect mixture between ancient and modern. Coming into this city helps me discover myself, learn about so many different cultures, learning about the world, which will help me in writing future books.
At Maltepe University, we have a lot of research centers. Because of that, we have the ability to participate in a lot of international projects.
Here at Maltepe University, the education consists of both practical and theoretical. We get the opportunity to practice everything we learn in class in real life. So after we graduate, we have a degree and we can work all over the world.
People come to Istanbul all the time, but what they really miss when they visit are the antique shops, which contain thousands of years of memories and also a thread of the modern future.
I like to use every minute and just get out and hop on the ferry and just go from the Asian side to the European side and just enjoy the wonderful weather with the wonderful Bosphorus behind me and just enjoying the moment of Istanbul.
Istanbul is very beautiful with great culture.
This city is the symbol of diversity. Come and study at Maltepe University.
Come here and feel like you're home.
Welcome to Maltepe University International Student Congress 2022. I am Yusuf Tolga Ünker. I am a research assistant at the Faculty of Fine Arts Graphic Design Department. Today, I am going to serve as the moderator of the Congress. Maltepe University's student congresses are organized by Maltepe University annually. One of the 4 student congresses, ARTCONS, is a student art congress prepared by Faculty of Fine Arts and Conservatory of Music. This year, our congress topic is Life with and Without Art. As Faculty of Fine Arts and Conservatory of Music Congress Board, I would like to thank to the Board of Directors of our university, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the founder of our university, Hüseyin Şimşek, our rector, Professor Dr. Şahin Karasar, and our Congress President, who has been managing our Congress for many years, our Vice Rector, Professor Dr. Betül Çotuksöken. And finally, we would like to thank our Dean of Finance Faculty, Professor Dr. Celal Oktay Yalın, and the Director of Conservatory of Music, Professor Çiğdem İyicil. Distinguished guests and participants of our Congress, we are so happy to have you in our online Congress. We believe the topic of the Congress speaks for itself. Before listening to the articles and art performances, I invite ARTCONS Student Board President Beyza Omay to give her speech.
As ARTCONS, we ceremony of the 9th Malta Bay University. Welcome! As ARTCONS, we proudly present the opening ceremony of the 9th Malta Bay University International Fine Arts and Conservatory Student Congress. The main subject of this year's Congress is Life Without Art. Every application has been meticulously evaluated by our Science and Art committees and been prepared to present to you. I would like to mention ARTCONS and Ömer Tunçatas's attendance as our keynote speakers and give my gratitude. I would also like to thank General Congress coordinators, Professor Dr. Betül Çotuk-Söken, our teachers and the Dean of Faculty of Fine Arts, Professor Dr. Celal Yalın, Conservatory President, Professor Çiğdem İyicil, ARTCONS coordinators, Assist Professor Dr. Seyit Mehmet Buçukoğlu and Mustafa Arda Cabaoğlu, and finally, Organization Committee. I hope this Congress demonstrates the field of art as an integral part of achieving a better future for our world and widens our perspective. We believe we will be hard and hope you all have an enjoyable time. Thank you.
We would like to thank Beyza Amay for her welcome speech. Now, I'd like to invite one of our keynote speakers, the chairman and executive member of the board of directors from Gamma Holding, Mr. Ömer Tunçata, to give his speech. We are extremely honored to have him at our Congress.
Hello everyone, let me start by thanking Malta Bay University Faculty of Fine Arts and Conservatory of Music for allowing me this time to give me this opportunity to address you. What an honor and what an amazing subject, life without or with art. It's an interesting question and a wonderful question to discuss, especially if you are like me, an engineer. Of course, we can go into an academic conversation, but this is not my interest. My interest is to give you an opportunity, a glimpse into my world, the layman's world, the working world, and how art plays a role in this entire capacity. When I think about art, I think about creativity. And I think this is where everything starts. And when I think about creativity, the first name that comes to my mind is Sir Ken Robinson. He was an amazing educator. Bless his heart, he passed away. And he was an educator at the University of Warwick. He was a professor of art education. And I had an opportunity to listen to him speak one time. And something he said left an impression with me, and I'd like to share that with you. When he was a young teacher, when he first started his career, he taught all classes. And his students were young. They were third graders, fourth graders, and they had all different interests. But there was one student who had no interest in any subject, and this became his interest, to try to understand how he was going to capture this particular student's imagination. One day, when it was the art class, he realized that this student was very busy. They were drawing with tremendous passion. So he went up to the student and said, "What are you doing?" And the student said, "I am drawing a picture of God." He said, "Wait a minute, nobody knows what God looks like." And without any hesitation, the student answered, "They will in a minute." This is the spirit. This is the spirit where creativity starts, and this is what we need to give attention to, because this actually this small example carries us throughout life. And I am a good example of this because I applied this type of thinking in my factories. At one point in life, I was a manufacturer of building materials, and I had factories around the world. And one of my factories, the specific one in Mexico, was an amazing operation. There were 5 shifts of workers coming through. It was a very busy operation. And my whole thought was, how can I make this environment the best environment to work in and the most productive environment? So I thought about, how about a human touch? We start with labor. Machines, okay, we can adjust machines, but how about people? So I thought, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up in a different mood. I wake up happy, but some days I'm less happy, some days I'm more happy. So I thought, some days I don't want to go to work, some days I want to go to work. But this affected my day, how my mood started in the morning. And I had an opportunity to test, if I had an opportunity to test the mood of people when they showed up to work, this would really help me in organizing the most productive environment. This was my thought. Well, in the factory, when you come in, there's a board and you have a card, and you pick up your card and you go to a punch clock, and you punch the clock, and then you put the board, your card into another board, and then at night when you're leaving, you do the same thing in reverse. Well, I thought this is a great opportunity. When they come in, they can tell me how they feel. So I wanted to give them an opportunity. How did I do this? I had one board where all the cards were hanging, and then there was the punch clock, and then there was another board. Well, I changed that board. I made 3 boards. One of them I painted red, the other one yellow, and the other one green. Red meant, I don't want to be here today. I just don't want to work today. Yellow meant, maybe. And green meant, I am ready to go. So when I did this, human resources told me, you're an idiot. Nobody is going to ever put a card in red. Everybody is going to put it in green. Who wants to take a chance to be fired? I said, you're right. But one person will do it. One day they will do it. And that's the day I'm looking forward to. And it happened. One day, everybody was excited. They came to me and they said, we have a card in red. I said, great. So I walked up there, I picked up the card. And when I picked up the card, I saw the worker walking towards me, a lady. And without even saying a word, she said, why don't you go ahead and fire me? I know you're going to fire me. And I said, no, that's not the intention. The intention is, I want to find out why you don't want to work today. And she said, look, I am 20 years old. I have 3 kids, no husbands around, and my mother takes care of the kids while I'm at work. And all my kids, including my mother, they're all sick. And I'm not feeling well myself. And here I'm at work because I have to come to work. So this is why I want to let you know that I don't want to be here today. I said, wonderful, so come with me now. And we went to her home. We found, we called a doctor. We got the medicine and the help they need. And I told her, I said, today you're going to get paid full day's work, as if you were at work. And you can do whatever you want. You can stay with your kids, you can stay with your mother, or you can come back to work, but I really don't want you to be on the floor. You can do something else. She said, okay, I want to come back to work. I said, what would you like to do? And she said, why don't you give me a pencil and some paper and leave me alone? I said, okay, it's perfectly fine, understandable. So she went to the cafeteria. She sat at one of the tables and she started drawing something. And she drew this amazing illustration. That was her work that day. And at the end of that illustration, I asked her, I said, what were you trying to do? She said, I drew a picture of my mood today as a reminder to myself, as a reminder of this day where you paid attention to me, and as a reminder to everybody that if they ever felt that way, they could learn from me. So she wanted to communicate through art. And that was my happiest day in the factory, because through that experience, I was able to expand that factory into a lifestyle. We had an art gallery in that factory. We had a nursery. We had a laundry room. We had a music room. We had a library. All of these things came through this process. But the key factor here was her method of communication, and it was art. It was through art. That's where she wanted to speak herself. And those words meant a lot to me, meant a lot to the workers, and it was a very soft way to touch people and to explain ideas. So when I think about this topic, life with or without art, look at this experience. How could you possibly imagine life without art? And what happened at the end of this process is also very important, because throughout this process, I realized creativity in the workplace, the thoughts, the systems, and the way that people communicated, it renewed motivation. Everybody was more motivated. And it promoted clarity. People understood what they could, what they couldn't do. Before this process, they had no voice. With this process, they had a big voice. And they started thinking critically, critical thinking. This was major in a factory setting. They started seeing the big picture because they understood everybody's feelings and thoughts and ideas and how it interacted with each other. And our productivity went sky high. People couldn't believe it. Other companies wanted to come and see what we were doing and how we were doing it. We had 40 people waiting outside for somebody to be fired so that they could come in and start working. It was amazing. And it also promoted an amazing environment of positivity. And this is what you need when you're in a working environment. You have to think positively. And also it created a tremendous environment for logical reasoning. Because when in the creative process, all of these things come about. And through art, you share this value. And so this is my experience of how art plays a tremendous role in our lives and how it has to be integrated and how we cannot think of our lives without art. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with some suggestions that I've made to others. You have to have art in your life. You have to think through art. You have to think of art as if you're brushing your teeth. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, but you look at an object, you look at anything, you see, you hear a voice, you have to understand its philosophy. And only you can do that through art and through your creative process. So some of my suggestions, time to time, go outdoors, walk around, see what is outside, see and understand that you are a part of something much bigger than yourself. This is important. Daydream. You have to daydream. Just like that student who wanted to show us what God looked like. You have to daydream. That's where it starts. Sometimes keep a journal. Some people keep a journal in figures. Some people keep a journal in words. Some people keep a journal in poetry. Keep a journal because it's a reference point. You go back to it, you read, you see progress in your life. And make sure you start thinking bigger through artistic activities. A personal example, I am now 64 years old, and last year I started playing the trumpet, and I love it. And I suggest you the same. once in a while, another suggestion is once in a while, take a nap out of a blue. Clear your mind so that you can start thinking more clearly and bigger and more creatively. Always take a step in the positive direction. This is very important. And when you do it all, the most important of all, take time to meditate. Because through that, your creativity will turn into a product. And that product will turn into your lifestyle. And that lifestyle will be a happy lifestyle. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I thought this was worth sharing, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ömer Tunçata, for this meaningful speech. We have a participant from Italy. Musician Dario Savino Doronzo will perform an unusual interpretation of music by Verdi, Paisiello, and Monteverdi. Now we leave you alone with his performance by a flugelhorn performed by Mr. Doronzo, and Pietro Gallo plays the piano. Many thanks to Mr. Dario Savino Doronzo for submitting this beautiful performance to our Congress. Next, we have articles by participants with their presentations. Firstly, I invite Ms. Fania Kolaiti from Eugeniusz Geppert Academy of Art and Design in Wrocław, Poland. This presentation is titled, A Study on Ceramic Architectural Components as Emerging Objects in Sustainable Design and Ecosystem Restoration.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? So this is my presentation. I hope you can see my first slide. My name is Fania Kolaiti. I'm a student in Eugeniusz Geppert Academy of Fine Arts in Wrocław, Poland. I have studied fine arts and this is my master research that I'm doing this year. I'm a ceramist, and my subject is about a study on ceramic architectural components as emerging objects in sustainable design and ecosystem restoration. So my first work is about creating tiles, combining traditional techniques with 3D printing technology. I'm highly inspired by natural landscape and picking up my own clay that I used for this project. Raw clay is quite suitable idea for a sustainable project in ceramics because it promotes the local materials which can be found almost everywhere in each site of earth with land. So my idea is to combine a local material with traditional techniques in tile cutting, and I'm using 3D printing in order to suggest more strong construction, a more stable and design that is not able to be done in a handmade way. So I was inspired by the landscape where I found my clay, and I created a 3D torus, and this torus is quite hard to create by handmade and traditional techniques. So I decided to use 3D printing technology. I used PLA, polylactic acid, is the most common filament for 3D printing. So it was easy to take as many information and details from the design in order to decorate my tiles. This is my 3D printed shape, which I attached later. First I molded with traditional techniques by using plaster. So plaster is a very good material to mold clay because it absorbs humidity. So I used the molded shape on a quartet of tiles made by raw clay that I picked up from the site, and I fired them in bisque temperature of 900 degrees in order to achieve the ceramic material. The next project is about designing furniture for public space. I chose to make a proposal of a public bench with motivating intention to promote the ecosystem restoration of coral reefs. So I have combined the furniture of the public space, which is attached on a floating platform with ceramic components that are suitable for propagation of corals in places where the ecosystem is in crisis. So the climate change is one of the issues that is mostly affecting the life of the natural underwater ecosystem, and it highly damages corals. The rising of temperature can affect seriously the ecosystem by creating the phenomenon of bleached corals. So the bleached corals are corals that cannot make it on the new high levels of temperature, So the ecosystem is falling like a domino. Corals are dying. No more flora is growing around. No more fish can survive and protect themselves or exist in the ecosystem. So it's one serious issue that biologists and designers are called to solve. For this issue, in order to solve this issue, I decided to design ceramic tiles. Ceramic is a very suitable material for growing underwater flora because it maintains humidity and it can survive for many years, even centuries, underwater. So marine biologists are working together with ceramic designers in order to create suitable forms that can host the propagation of young corals, which are placed on ceramic material, and then time is showing how ecosystem can be restored. So this is my general render of my bench, which I proposed to be designed by recycled wood, by marine boats and ships that have discarded their wood. And I used red color for the living coral and white color in order to express my awareness towards the bleaching coral. So bleaching coral is kind of white, and the red coral represents the alive one. So this is a momentum of wondering where should we focus on regarding the ecosystem of underwater coral reefs. And this is the design of my substructural module tiles. The hexagon is a shape that offers great capacity of creating modules. And I designed a higher shape with foundation and another shape that interlocks to the first one. And I decided to make them through 3D printed technique. I'm using a ceramic printer to print those forms. They are not compact. I'm using the infill characteristic, which is the way that printer is filling each layer of the design in order to create an internal net, a network that can create hostive and protective areas for the genetic material of corals, which reminds spores. It's quite tiny, quite often is eaten by fish. So in order to give more chance to corals to propagate, I used this characteristic of 3D printing technology, the infill. These are pictures from the process of my printing. I'm using a desktop ceramic printer. It's a paste printer, so it's suitable for clay. It's mainly used for clay. And this is my first module printed in the drying process. This is my second module, also in the drying process. And later, those tiles are covered in foil in order to achieve a controlled drying. My project is under construction right now because the research is recent. So I decided to go through by showing you a maquette of how those tiles, module tiles, are looking like. And I used wood filament in order to present my maquette for this project. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed, and if later are any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Many thanks to Ms. Fania Kolaiti for presenting her article.
Thank you.
Now, thank you. Now I invite Mr. Soner Yıldırım from 9 Eylül University, Institute of Educational Sciences. He's a PhD candidate in music education. His presentation is titled Somatic Processes in Voice Education, Awareness and Prevention.
Hello everyone, dear academicians and dear researcher friends. As our teacher said, yes, I'm studying at 9 Eylül University. I'm a PhD student, and also I'm an opera singer in Izmir State Opera and Ballet. So what I'm going to start to talk and present to you, it's my real profession, how I earn my life. And let me begin. Somatic process in voice education, awareness and prevention, and body and mind awareness. Somatic education can be defined as the conscious use of body and mind in harmony. Since they adopt a holistic approach, body and mind are not considered separately in somatic training techniques, and body-mind awareness studies are holistic. That's the reason, because you cannot separate the mind and body when you're singing. In somatic education, awareness is directly related to the kinesthetic sense. These are muscle, movement, and posture sense. And when we start to talk about our senses, the most known are sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. You know, all we know that, but there are maybe more important for us, because proprioceptive senses gives chance to us how to move. When we try to do a movement, we making it with a tension of muscles, and kinesthesia or kinetic sense tells us how much power we need or how we should do this act. It's all feelings comes from our body, and the most important thing for proprioceptive senses, it's not about touching any part of your body. For example, it's the understanding and feeling your body inside, not seeing or directly touching, but we can use touching when we try to discover it. Proprioception or kinesthesia is the sense that lets us perceive the location, movement, and action of parts of the body. It encompasses a complex of sensations, including perception of joint position and movement, muscle force and effort. That's why it's really related to singing, because muscle force, we are doing these things with our muscles, but how much tension we need. And we are getting the knowledge with our receptors. These sensations arise from signals out of sensory receptors in the muscle, skin, and joints, and from central signals related to motor output. Proprioception enables us to judge limb movements and positions, force, heaviness, stiffness, and viscosity. It combines with other senses to locate external objects relative to the body and contributes to body image. Proprioception is closely tied to the control of movement. And what is inhibition in somatic education? Blocking, also we can call it blocking, the inhibition. Blocking, which is also used as inhibition in the literature, can be defined as the awareness of the moment. It's really important because we need to catch the moment for understand how we are making, how we decide to do an act and how we are making it. And if there is something wrong, if we focus that the moment, we can discover and solve our problems. A moment between receiving a warning and responding to that warning. It's very difficult to change in a short time body uses that are ingrained in our muscle memory and that we practice almost all our lives. You know, for example, you're doing an act in the wrong way, but you have practiced it like thousands times, and usually, I guess, more than it. And we are doing some acts and movements without thinking. It's good or bad. Also, when we are having anxiety, also, if you are a musician, anxiety and feeling uncomfortable, it's real common thing for all of us. When we are on stage, we feel, oh my god, I'm gonna do any mistake. We are thinking, and in this situation we go back to our habits, which are we don't need to think about that. For example, when you know that, of course, if you are knowing that the movement is wrong, but you know the results, it's really important, because if you know how bad you are going to do, you can say, yes, that's fine for me. I can make that kind of things bad if you accept. And it's a difficult process for people with performative professions to learn a new body use style and internalize these movements. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Because, for example, when you're singing and your teacher, your vocal teacher, trying to teach you something, but we feel that it's uncomfortable. It doesn't matter what we are doing. It's like walking, running in wrong way. When we try to fix it, to understand our body movements, in the beginning, we feel uncomfortable and it's really normal. But why it's so difficult for performative professions? Because we feel anxiety all the time. Because you can sing in wrong way, you can make big and huge mistakes, so you don't want it and you go back to your old habits because you're in really stressful situation. So if we want to change our habits and movement habits, we need to practice them when we are calm and not stressed. Our body is willing to perform the movements it knows best. That is the most experienced in all new and complicated physical activities. During the training, most individuals stated that they felt that they were making a wrong move when they experienced a movement or posture that was unfamiliar. Yes, that's the word. And if a newly learned movement increases our performance comfort or causes stress or fear, we encounter situations and go back to our old habits. The vast majority of students who receive voice training cannot apply what they have learned in the lessons to their concerts or exams. This is performance anxiety, and many anxiety factors such as going out of tone, not being heard in low notes, and the possibility of cracking the voice when singing high notes cause students to repeat their old habits. For example, I will try to give you an exception. A lot of singers, when they go low register, they push their voices so much because in higher register, you can be heard easily. It doesn't matter. It's really easy to being heard, but in the low notes, voice are not huge and resonance more close, and we are pressing our larynx. So, for example, yeah, but sometimes we want to do this. It's wrong, but I feel anxiety because maybe in the opera house, the someone is watching me, maybe he cannot or she cannot hear me. So when I feel stressed, I push my larynx. So I continue to make the wrong things. So it's really hard to change it. In order to prevent this situation, new movements that the individual has learned should be applied until they become the new normal. It's really important because if we don't feel that it's our normal movements, it also comes, I'm gonna make a mistake. And when you start to, you are going to a mistake, you always do it. And Daniel Wagner's white bear theory, when you start to not to think something, you directly think that thing. And for example, I don't want to think about this pen. That's my idea, but always I shouldn't think this, but I cannot control. So if we want to change our habits, we have to learn it in easygoing and not stressed places and situations. In the light of the foregoing, in this research, the effect of the long-term and systematic awareness blocking practices on individuals' ability to use their voices correctly will be investigated. And I want to say something more about voice education and body-mind awareness. Is singing a physical training or a mind training? It's really important question for singers because also all in playing instruments considering also physical and mind training. But for singers, it's more complicated because our instrument is our body. So we need that kinesthetic feelings, all this kinesthetic knowledge, which comes from our body. And it's like closing your eyes and you are trying to touch your nose. It's kinesthetic sense. It's really easy like that. And thanks for the information and everything. Thank you very much for opportunity and great work with you. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Soner Yildirim for his presentation. Our next presentation is titled Geographical indication on the sustainability of local foods within the scope of intangible cultural heritage. The case of Afyonkarahisar by İrem Civelek and Durmuş Buldur. Now I invite Ms. İrem Civelek from Maltepe University, Faculty of Fine Arts, Department of Gastronomy and Culinary Arts to make their presentation.
Thank you. Today I'm going to talk about the case of Afyonkarahisar. Geographical indication is a sign given to products that have been identified with the region and that stand out with their distinctive qualities. The geographical indication is divided into two, the name of origin and indication of origin. The geographical indication refers to a more extensive term than the name of origin. While the production of the products with the name of origin is carried out entirely in that region, it is sufficient to carry out at least one of the production steps in the territory identified with the product for the product to receive the indication of origin. The advantages of geographical indications. The geographical indication practice is one of the practices for the safety of local foods from imitations and for local producers to gain an economic return. This practice, which provides a regular and continuous income flow in low-income rural areas, helps the region protect its food culture and plays a significant role in protecting the consumer from imitation products and preventing deception. The case of Afyonkarahisar. Afyonkarahisar, which was included in the UNESCO Creative Cities Network in 2019 with the gastronomy field after Gaziantep and Hatay, has 34 products with geographical indication, totally 27 of which are food products. Geographically indicated food products of the Afyonkarahisar are Afyon cream, Chai district cherry, Afyonkarahisar potato bread, Afyon buffalo milk yogurt, Sultan Dağı gully cherry and Sultan Dağı cherry, Afyon sausage and Afyon bacon. Afyon sausage is different from the other types of sausages, especially from the Kayseri sausage. The main reason is that Afyon sausage is less spicy than the other types of sausages, and the taste of the meat is intense. Afyon ağzı açığı, Afyon roll, Afyon creamy bread dessert, Afyon kebab, Afyon delight, Afyon Valense pastry, Afyon eggplant pastry, Afyon ilibada stuffed leaves, Afyon göce meatballs, Afyon çulama meatballs, and Emirdağ filled meatballs. These two meatballs looks similar, but they are different. The difference between these two meatballs is the way they are cooked. While çulama meatballs are fried, filled meatballs are boiled. In addition to this, as you see in the first picture, çulama meatballs are uneven because they have eggs on them. Emirdağ sheep milk yogurt. In this picture, we can clearly see that sheep milk yogurt is different than cow milk yogurt. Sheep milk yogurt has a thick and yellowish fat layer on it, and it's condensed. Emirdağ casserole, sandıklı kapama meal, Emirdağ pita bread with eggs, sandıklı kürek helva, sandıklı poppy paste, sandıklı sac meat, and şuhut keşkek. While the first 6 of these food products have the name of origin, the others have the indication of origin. Diversity of the food culture in Afyonkarahisar. The development of both livestock and agriculture in Afyonkarahisar have a crucial role in diversity of the food culture. In addition to this, the range and abundance of dinner invitations, such as birth invitations, haji invitations, funeral banquets, zinardi invitations, wedding dinners, bridal invitations, religious holiday invitations, and so, in the local culture, have made the eating and drinking culture come to the fore. These invitations, which have been going on for centuries, form a worthy part of our intangible cultural heritage. Thank you for your attention.
We would like to thank Ms. İrem Civelek for the presentation. We have come to the end of the first part of our ARTCONS Student Congress. We are taking a short break for now. We will be together again at 1 o'clock Istanbul time.
This is the place to find yourself.
Istanbul offers great universities and the lifestyle is really amazing here.
So I live at the dorms at Maltepe University and I'm really happy with it. There's a cleaning service every few days and then there's the library nearby which is open 24/7.
My first impression when I came was like, it's huge. You have everything in one place.
When you first come to Maltepe University, you don't know where what is and you're like, oh my God, I need help. Guess what? You're not alone. There is the international office people over there. They're like family. They're very helpful and they're always there for you.
Istanbul is the perfect mixture between ancient and modern. Coming into this city helps me discover myself, learn about so many different cultures, learning about the world, which will help me in writing future books.
At Maltepe University, we have a lot of research centers. Because of that, we have the ability to participate in a lot of international projects.
Here at Maltepe University, the education consists of both practical and theoretical. We get the opportunity to practice everything we learn in class in real life. So after we graduate, we have a degree and we can work all over the world.
People come to Istanbul all the time, but what they really miss when they visit are the antique shops, which contain thousands of years of memories and also a thread of the modern future.
I like to use every minute and just get out and hop on the ferry and just go from the Asian side to the European side and just enjoy the wonderful weather with the wonderful Bosphorus behind me and just enjoying the moment of Istanbul.
Istanbul is very beautiful with great culture.
This city is the symbol of diversity. Come and study at Maltepe University.
Come here and feel like you're home.